Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on KTV Primetime News. Time for the great discussion, the new dawn. Now, following the 2022 general elections and the presidential petition that upheld Dr. William Ruto's win, Kenya is set to usher in a new president that shall succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. The numbers decided the fate of the presidency, and the majority rallied behind the hustler narrative. That therefore sets Kenya on the trajectory of the bottom-up economic transformation model, with Dr. William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua officially taking office tomorrow at the inauguration. So what future are Kenyans staring at? It is the discussion of the night, trying to scrutinize as we speculate on the new dawn. And joining me for this discussion is Martin Maina, who is a youth leader, and Shadrack Kosgei, a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for dedicating your time for this discussion. But first, so let us just, because tomorrow we are going to see inauguration of the newly elected president, that is Dr. William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. So it is expected to be a new, we are going to have a new experience. Like, you can buy a new cloth, but you're not so sure of whether it will be the best fit for you, because you might not have tried it out in the market, but you're going to try it for the first time, probably walking outside with it. So Martin Maina, probably let me just get your insights. You're going to usher in a new leadership of Dr. William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. So what are you speculating in their administration, in their leadership? What are the expectations of Kenyans in their leadership?
Yes, Bwana Omosh, thank you for having me back. Yes, I'm so honored. It's a pleasure. Yeah, let me first introduce myself. I go by the name Martin Maina. I was vying for a member of County Assembly in Resam Ward, and I thank my supporters. Yeah, I believe now we have a winner. I cannot say I failed, but again, na washukuru my supporters. My votes, they were never enough, but again, we live to fight for another day.
Sure.
Yes. So my expectations are high. They are too big.
Okay.
Because we have a ton of promises from the Excellency Dr. William. And Dr. William is a man of God. And a man of God always keeps promises and also has people's heart, the love of people at heart. You understand? So we have a hope. We have a big hope in them, because they promised that they're gonna lower the food prices, they'll change and stabilize the economy. So we have a big hope for them, and we are eagerly waiting. And also, I'm curious to have a new government. Yesterday governments, I was young. I was not as I am now. I've learned a lot. And also, this election has taught me a lot. I've learned that you can achieve anything as long as you fight for it. It's never easy, but you have to fight for it.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, that is Martin Maina is a resident of the great city, Nairobi County. So let us get probably from you, Kosgei, because you understand you traveled all the way from Baringo to come and attend the inauguration of President-elect Dr. William Ruto. So what are the expectations of Kenyans from the other side of the country?
Now, born in the vast hills of Eldama Ravine constituency, and I have traveled all the way, as you have said. I was named Shadrack Kosgei. That is my name, which I pride myself with. Now, I have studied, and let us first start from the dark dusk, the old dark dusk. For us to talk about the new dawn, we need to discuss about the dusk.
Absolutely.
Which was totally dark. Kenyans have been experiencing a bleeding economy, tough food prices which have been rising uncontrollably. The other day we experienced hoarding of oil prices. Then came the rising of unga prices. Then finally there was a political, what we call state capture, which brought a lot of effects on our political battleground.
Right.
Now, if you talk about the state capture, there was continuous weaponization of the criminal justice system.
Right.
That is the dusk, the dark dusk to describe in just few words. But now, after the inauguration of the president-elect, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we are expecting him to swing into action as fast as he can to start implementing his manifesto, which was anchored by economy, political developments, and uniting the nation.
Right.
In the economy part, first one is the prices of unga. And as he was in Meru the other day, he said that he's going to announce the new price of
Fertilizers, yes.
That is a way of boosting the agriculture. And when you boost the agriculture, there'll be high production.
Right.
High production will lower the prices of maize. That is the first thing to do, because that is an emergency. Now, the other issue of uniting the country, if you look at the voting pattern of the nation, William Ruto received at least 25% to 50% of the votes in the stronghold of the opponent.
Right.
That one shows that Kenyans are no longer voting on tribal lines. They are trying to align themselves as a country, not as a region.
Right.
That one displays that we are making progress slowly by slowly, step by step, and finally we will end up bringing the country together.
Right.
That is what we are expecting. And maybe another issue on the oil prices, William Ruto seems to have notably scrutinized the challenges facing the country in terms of the petroleum.
Right.
And we are expecting him to make a change, which we are sure he will. That is my view.
All right. That is so impressive, Shadrack Kosgei. You're bringing, turning every stone. You left none of the stones unturned. That is so impressive, of course, being optimistic that the new leadership, the new dawn shall be, coming in with goodies for Kenyans. Now, Maina, one problem that, because maybe just to borrow from what Shadrack Kosgei has said, that the issue of state capture, because when the Deputy President William Ruto was campaigning, he majorly said that some of the problems you're facing in Kenya is due to the state capture. And he came out clearly just the other day saying that once he takes the oath and drops the Bible, he will be dealing with the cartels. And we understand really that the cartels have, when it comes to hoarding of commodities, when it comes to hoarding of the maize, when it comes to hoarding of the oil, these are all cartels that probably, they put their interests first beyond the interests of other citizens, of course, which brings the effect of citizens suffering on their, on the issues probably that they are the ones who are orchestrating. So, Maina, what is your take really on this? Will William Ruto fight the cartels that have been in some of these ministries, in some of these government agencies? But we also need to look at it from a perspective that, this is politics, and some of these politicians are also stakeholders in some of these government agencies. Maina.
Yes.
That's a question.
Now, let me tell you, Omosh, the matters with the cartel, it's not a small fight.
Yes.
It has been a challenge ever since. And the cartels also, they are so connected. And fighting them means you are committed to fight them and eliminate them.
Right.
You are not there to hold any issues or talking with them or any negotiations. Is to completely eliminate them.
Right.
And what I believe in William Ruto, our president, His Excellency, is that he has passed through a lot and he was so despised. And he has that urge of really transforming the politics in Kenya,
Right.
really transforming how politics is being run in Kenya. Kenya is a great land, and we can have a big, we can get like a big difference if at all we can manage and commit ourselves to serve the people and to do whatever roles that were set to us. Now, about fighting cartels, I believe they are also waiting, and they are so bitter because they know Ruto will go after them.
Right.
So I'm also curious, and I'm praying to God that Ruto, our president, and I'm pleading with him that he won't tire until he make sure he has stopped all that.
And maybe just to add on what I was asking, because during the campaigns, the opponents in the politics that the politics that was being displayed, the opponents were accusing the Kenya Kwanza leaders, most so William Ruto, of him being corrupt, mentioning the scandals that he was allegedly involved in. So do you think really the fight will be legitimately be done by the president-elect William Ruto without tainting his image, rather, or without, smearing himself with some of these, corruption and issues that have been in the previous leaderships?
Yes. Ruto is very careful. And when he talks about going after them, he means what he says. So yesterday you heard him saying, if you have any uncle or you are related to a cartel, it's the time to tell them to pack and leave, because we are after you, and we will help and support our president until he completes his mission.
Right.
Yeah.
Impressive. Now, Kosgei, maybe to go back to you, you mentioned that the President-elect Dr. William Ruto is committed to unite this country. We understand this evening that there has been a communication from the Azimio team saying that Raila Amolo Odinga was invited to the inauguration, but he traveled outside the country, saying that he wouldn't be able to attend that inauguration tomorrow. But one thing that came out in his statement, that he is still holding back to the petition, because he's saying that the judgment that was rendered by the Supreme Court judges, it was not fairly done. And he mentioned a lot of issues, of course, borrowing from the election petition. So do you think really it will be an easy task for the President-elect Dr. William Ruto to unite every Kenyan from every corner of this country?
Okay, you have asked a very good question, but I think, will you allow me to add something on the issue of cartels?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, in the outgoing administration, we witnessed a lot of cartels driving. Who are cartels?
Yes.
Cartels are brokers who have gotten themselves into government and started diverting resources and contracts to their pockets. They are therefore eating taxpayers' money. That is where you find corruption thriving.
Yes.
Now, there was a smear campaign that was driven by the opponents, which you call character assassination, to claim that, to allege that the deputy president is a corrupt person, the deputy president is so and so, yet they cannot substantiate. That is where we draw the line. The moment they substantiate, then you will say it is true.
Yes.
But the moment they shy away from telling us that he stole this and this and this, and here is the evidence, that is the end of it. But I am sure he is a committed person who will not reveal to the enemy the strategy he is going to use to excommunicate fully.
Right.
Now, the issue of Azimio leader not attending the swearing-in ceremony, the unity of this country was first witnessed by the peaceful election. People did not carry or fight against themselves, throw stones against themselves, because the election was transparent. Now, when you go to the Supreme Court dismissed the petition in the name of hot air.
Right.
That means there was no solid evidence to defend their allegations.
Right.
Now, as a new leader and the rest of the lieutenants not attending the swearing in, I want to tell you, things at the ground are different. As a new leader can fail to attend the inauguration. But if you go to Kasarani and you count the number of people coming from the stronghold of this person, they'll be even above 2,000 or so. That one means Kenyans have started feeling that we need to start going forward as a country, not dividing ourselves as per what the leaders say. When the leader say throw stone against your neighbor, you say no. Tomorrow when I want to buy this, my neighbor will assist me. So it is only there's disunity in the leaders, not in the wananchi at the ground. That is my point.
All right, impressive. Now, maybe Maina, looking at how the strategy that Deputy President William Ruto is he's saying that he will use to fight corruption in the country. Maybe, of course, to borrow from what Kosgei has said, that during the campaigns, the opponents were using a tactic of, destruction of character, because they didn't, probably saying that the opponents did not have enough evidence to substantiate on the allegations that were making on the deputy president. But the issue of corruption, the cartels that have been in the country, in the previous leadership, Dr. William Ruto has always come out clearly that saying that they only worked in the first term, but in the second term, the handshake came and disrupted every plans that they had. But during the first term, when the opposition was so strong, we saw a lot of issues, of course, being brought to light, corruption issues being brought to light. So does it really make President-elect William Ruto clean in terms of being a saint in fighting corruption?
Yes. Again, what makes him clean is because we chose him. We elected him like almost everyone. And I can tell you, everybody wanted a change. You know, those are allegations. We cannot truly confirm whether they are true. But we know there is a matter of corruption in our country that's really ruining us, that's really spoiling everything. We have a dream as a country,
yes,
and we had a vision, the Vision 2030, and we are moving forward to hitting our goal. So in matters of corruption, I believe our president is clean, and that's why we gave him the chance to lead us. Yes, so I have trust in him 100%.
All right, Martin, still asking a question is, we know the power of the opposition keeping the sitting government checks in the new administration, in the sitting administration. We understand the role of the opposition is to keep the government on toes.
On toes, yeah.
But, from these 2022 general elections, we have seen people saying that now Raila should retire from politics, Raila should go home. And we have seen a number of politicians who are in the opposition, that is leaders who are allied to the Kenya Kwanza, joining, rather leaders who are in the Azimio joining Kenya Kwanza. So in this new leadership, as we are going to usher in the new, administration, what do you foresee as the strength of the opposition that is supposed to keep the sitting government on toes, Maina?
Yeah, what I'll say is because they have not yet believed that we took the win. Now, I believe Raila is a great leader.
Yes.
He has his successors. And also, they are also after seeing whether the government will accomplish their promises. That's why I believe this time the opposition will be so strong because they will try to fight Ruto from the beginning. And again, I believe our Excellency the President will prove them wrong because he is willing to change the economy, he is willing to build people's, and he is willing to change the Mama Mboga and the Boda Boda guys as he promised us. I believe the first 100 years, first 100 days, yes, sorry. He'll really transform this country. And we are also seeing and we are following up. And also he believed, as Kenyans, we have voted him with a free will. And we have that hope that he will really stand to whatever he promised. Yes.
All right. Kosgei, I don't know what will be your take on the issue of accountability of the politicians, because Dr. William Ruto coming into office, because he won by a majority. We understand that majority of Kenyans voted him, and probably they were voting because of the manifesto, the agenda that he was selling to the electorate. So we need to find a way of keeping the government, keeping the government accountable for all the promises that they made. And some of these, in terms of accountability, the opposition could also play a major role, of course, in keeping checks into the government. But as I've said before, we have seen a number of leaders who are allied to the opposition, that is the Azimio side, joining Kenya Kwanza. So will it be easy really for Kenyans to keep, to keep this government accountable when we are seeing the strongholds of the opposition joining the sitting government?
Now, following first, the late President Moi was a professor in politics without a PhD.
Okay.
William Ruto was his student, and he studied a lot. This is where I want to differ with William Ruto totally. The reason is this. He studied that Kenya converted from a one-party state to a multi-party state.
Yes.
That is where we embrace democracy and diversion of views.
Yes.
Now, if you look at what's happening now, first, the leaders are lacking principles. Those are people who are being led by their own self-interest,
Yes.
forcing themselves to join the government.
Right.
Now, William Ruto, instead of shutting the gate so that we can have a solid opposition team,
Right.
he is trying to open the gates. Now, the continuous defections of the former Azimio lieutenants to William Ruto's camp first will weaken the opposition. And when the opposition is weakened, and if you look at what's happening, Raila Odinga is very old. He needs to retire
Yes.
and even rest. Who is coming to inherit the Azimio leadership? Maybe Kalonzo Musyoka. But Kalonzo Musyoka is a non-starter. He needs to be pushed to begin his politics. That means we will have a weak opposition because people like the Kisii team of James Ongwae are joining the government.
Right.
That one will revert back to 2017-2022 administration, which lacked a strong check, that is by the opposition, because he came into government in the name of handshake.
Right.
That one weakened the opposition, and there was nobody to criticize and even scrutinize what the government was doing, and that one took us to the darkness. So we are talking of the new dawn. We are advising the William Ruto political advisors that they should advise him to shut the gates, the opposition to remain strong, that the government can be criticized and spot check to do the right thing.
Right.
A government without an opposition is a government that will terrorize the people totally. Because the Constitution of Kenya upholds, recognizes that there should exist an opposition. That is my view.
Right. Interesting. Now, Maina, maybe as we're winding up because of the interest of time, William Ruto has made a lot of promises. You're a politician. You've vied previously, of course, as a member of the county assembly. And of course, probably I know with the time you'll also, because you say that William Ruto has given us hope that we can vie with commitment and hard work, we can vie any elective seat and of course clinch. That is probably in some years to come, you will be vying for the presidency, and probably we might consider me as a running mate. Now, the promises that were made by the, President-elect William Ruto, and also the promises. I'm asking this because you're also a politician. You've also made promises, of course, to the electorates.
Yes.
We understand Ruto made a number of ambitious promises to the electorates, just gauging from a political point of view. Will he be able to deliver all these promises?
One, prayers works miracles. He's a prayerful president.
Okay.
So God will lead him, and he will ensure, even if he cannot accomplish all the promises, maybe, I'm sure, he'll hit a target of 70%. Again, mashinani, it's not good. And
Right.
everybody has seen all that. And we have suffered. Wanjiko is really painful and bitter of the leadership that is always experienced in Kenya. Now, what drove our president to promise them is because he already felt. He was in the ground. That's why he has the bottom-up plan. Because we believe that with the bottom-up plan, everybody will feel a change. everybody will feel relievement. Yes, there a kind of relief because we have been through hell, through a lot of challenges. There's no money, there's no business running. Everyone is running away. Investors are running away. There's no place to do anything.
Okay.
But now we believe that this is a new dawn, it's a new beginning, and it's a chapter that we are being driven by God. He has got us from Egypt, and now we are in Canaan.
Okay.
And I thank God because Modavadi and Weta, they are now in Canaan.
Okay.
And we believe in Canaan now. That's where everything gets well.
All right.
Yeah, I'm so definite and I'm sure that our president is going to work according to his plan, and the bottom-up plan will affect everybody.
All right.
Yes.
The land of milk and honey. So you say we are tomorrow crossing over to Canaan.
Yes.
Impressive. Now, maybe as we wind up, Kosgei, politics is about interests. And looking at this government that we shall be now getting into tomorrow officially with the inauguration of President-elect William Ruto, do you think that this government, the new administration, is having the interests of the people at heart compared to the interest, their personal interest being put before the interests of the common mwananchi?
That one will make a flashback on why William Ruto won the election.
Okay.
Despite contesting for the first time, number two, despite running from a deputy president to president direct.
Okay.
Now, the first thing that propelled William Ruto to win this election is the sympathy of the voters.
Okay.
He was forced into political oblivion where everybody was fighting against him. Number two is that most Kenyans were experiencing a lot of problems in terms of there was a tough economy and prices had gone high and people were complaining. But William Ruto became clever, brought in the bottom-up economic model, have cognizant of the fact that there is million number of hustlers. Now he promised, or he took himself as an hustler. He went to the ground as a hustler, and he told the hustlers, I will revolutionize this country by empowering the people at the medium enterprises. Again, he said, I will come and bring employment opportunities.
Yes.
Then the people saw this man might be our Messiah.
Right.
And that is why they decided to vote for him overwhelmingly.
Okay.
But William Ruto also came out as a person, we call him grassroots mobilizer, and has the people's interest at heart.
Okay.
Again, flashbacking on the track record, which he lowered the price of fertilizer from 5,000 to 2,500. He lowered the time when you stay at home after Form 4 from 2 years to around 9 months.
Okay.
That track record itself shows that William Ruto will automatically deliver and will fulfill his promises of the bottom-up economic model.
Right.
And we are seeking him to do that. That is what he promised.
All right.
That is my view.
Impressive. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. This is a discussion that we shall be, of course, carrying it on as we get into the new government, keeping the government into checks to ensure that they deliver to the mandate and the promises they made to the electorates.